and how some portion will be given to the Honorable Assembly members to aid in their work as promised in the manifesto. With this, I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I understand you are the president of the Assembly members, eh?
Former president of NALAC.
NALAC?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I can now understand why you are speaking for them. Yes, let me go to Honorable Andrew Sola.
Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, I appreciate you for the opportunity to comment on the statements delivered by these two honourable members. The honourable lady, I happen to be residing in her constituency. I thank her for accommodating me in her constituency. Mr. Speaker, the District Assembly concept is a very good concept. It's a concept that is supposed to bring development to the rural people. Mr. Speaker, I have often told my Assembly members that if we have a very strong Assembly system, the work of the Member of Parliament will be very limited, because the Assembly members and the unit committee members, for that matter, they live with the people day in, day out. And so they know the people better than the members of Parliament. And they know the needs of the people better than the members of Parliament. Like the Honourable Elekplim said, what I think we have to do to empower them is to resource them. We, those who come from the rural areas, can testify to the importance of the unit committee members. In my constituency, for instance, we have electoral areas that are very scattered. There are some of the electoral areas that have as many as 20 communities making up the electoral area. And so making it very difficult for the Assembly member alone to function. And so that is why we think that the unit committee members should be seen as very important persons when it comes to helping send development to the people, helping carry information to the people, and helping solve the needs of the people. And so, Mr. Speaker, she indicated the need to empower them by way of training or developing their skills. It is very necessary for us to do that, because in some of the communities, they serve as the teachers. In some communities, they serve as the medical officers. They serve as everything. And so if they are empowered financially and technically, they will play their role to the expectation of the community members who elected them. My colleague, Honorable Sanja, in contributing, indicated the low patronage of the unit committee level. It's a fact because they don't have any benefit. They spend money to get the forms completed. They spend money to go around to campaign. On election days, just because you're surprised to hear that you would have to transport people to voting centers. And unit committee members and assembly members have to do that from their pocket. Meanwhile, they do not have any allowance. And so it only takes a person that is dedicated and committed to the service of his community or her community to volunteer to contest as an assembly member or a unit committee member. So, Mr. Speaker, calling for resource is important. Mr. Speaker, I know there's no time. Let me conclude by touching small on Honorable Napari's statement. It is a fact that constitutionally we are supposed to consider stakeholders in the formation of the District Assembly, especially when it comes to the appointments by the President. We need to consider carefully the people we select on the government appointment. I mean the President appointment. We need to get the people who have the skills. We don't just have to pick party members, but people who have the know-how, traditional leaders, NGOs, faith-based organizations, in fact, people with expertise to serve as government appointees, so that at the end of the day, we would carry home the development that government wants to send to the people. I thank you once again, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. But with the presence of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he promised Assembly members, I know he's going to deliver on his promise. We are going to send development to the doorsteps of the people. We are not going to award contracts from Accra. We are not going to award just road grading.
Honorable, thank you. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, let me go to Akim Odan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity for me to make a comment on the two statements that have to do with local governance in Ghana. Indeed, the member for Dominic Kwabenya would have to put herself together and form an association of MPs who reside in her constituency. Because I just heard the honorable member saying she lives there, and we have quite a couple of people who also live in Dominic Kwabenya, so that at least we can have development coming in our area. So, Speaker, I'm excited to take a bite on this all-important topic, local governance. So, Speaker upon Speaker, Speaker after Speaker, to this statement have all talked about the fact that we need to empower our local governance system. If you look at the structure of our local governance, it is only the assembly member and the MMDCs that you see. You don't have the unit committee and the other structures performing, and it's because they don't have empowerment. How do we talk about empowerment without looking at financial capacity or a system that would allow them to have access to finance? I want to crave your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to share an experience. In my constituency, the usage of common fund was a major campaign issue during our primaries. And so I promised my constituents that in order for them to have full access to the use of common fund, I was going to disburse the common fund to the 18 electoral areas in my constituency. When I got elected, every common fund that is released, yes, it was disbursed to the 18 electoral areas. We had the various electoral areas led by our assembly members opening electoral area accounts. And these monies were disbursed from the district assembly directly into that account. It made it easier for me to account for the common fund for every quarter. Even though I do not have any major project standing in my name, for every electoral area you go, there is something that they can point to that attests to the fact that this is what the MP's common fund has been used for. I think it becomes easier for you to account for the common fund because it's one major area that as a member of parliament, if you are not careful, they will definitely use it to campaign against you. No, I'm not concluding. You have to learn from my experience. As well, Mr. Speaker, it is the reason during the campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he promised that portions of the common fund were going to go to the electoral area. We did not vote for him. But once the NDC promised that they were going to pay assembly members, we are quietly waiting for that promise, because if assembly members are going to be paid, it would entice people to come and volunteer to become assembly members and to be voted for. After you have paid them, let's ensure that we have resources that will go directly into the electoral area, because we know the assembly common fund, when it goes to the district assemblies, they get into major projects and the electoral areas do not benefit. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes. No, let me go to the first timer. Yes, my brother. From where?
Asutifi North constituency.
Asutifi
North.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the two statements. However, my interest is rather going to be on the statement by our colleague, Member of Parliament for Dome Kwabenya, with the plight of unit committee members. Having been an assembly member and a presiding member before, I have a personal encounter with them. And I think it's right that as members of parliament, we look at how our unit committee members are treated. In fact, the district elections is designed to bring democracy and governance to the doorstep of Ghanaians. And if you look at the structure of our local government, the Constitution and the Local Governance Act provide the framework for such structures to exist between the Assembly and the Unit Committee. These substructures are composed mainly of the unit committees and the elected assembly members. We have the town councils, the zonal councils, and the area councils. If you go to the area councils, they are composed of elected assembly members within that area, and then not more than 10 unit committee members. That is, the composition is 15. So you realize the unit committee members have majority numbers in terms of the composition of these area councils. However, at the end of the tenure of these unit committee and assembly members, it is only the assembly members that provisions have been made for them to determine their emolument. But these unit committee members are the focal point for local engagement. If you look at the functions of the unit committee, Mr. Speaker, you realize they are to assist the area or urban councils to enumerate and keep records of all rateable persons and properties. And it is as a result of this that the Assembly can generate IGF. But in the disbursement or the usage of this IGF, the unit committee members don't even see how they are used. So I think it is at the right time that we look at how these unit committee members are treated, especially when their tenure of office is getting near. The assembly members are given motorbikes, but the unit committee members don't even have a bicycle to even go to the various areas. Thank you. And so I think the local governance minister should look at this and consult in getting some of these concerns addressed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Should I come to leadership? Yes. But honourable members, be brief.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, do I have the floor? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this two noble statements made by our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, we listening to our colleagues and the makers of these two statements, Mr. Speaker, it all boils down to inadequate funding for our assemblies, the MMDAs. Mr. Speaker, we pretend to be releasing common fund to the assemblies, and the assemblies too are pretending to be working. Mr. Speaker, all of us know the cost, the cost of 3 unit classroom block. Mr. Speaker, how much do we send to the assemblies from the common fund secretariat? So all I want to say is that we are pretending to be supporting or making payments to the assemblies by way of common fund. All the contributors and the makers of the statement, the challenges of the assemblies are that they are not adequately resourced. So they cannot actually bring the governance that we want to the doorsteps of the people. So we have to look at the funding. How do we fund the assemblies? I'm talking as a former district chief executive, Mr. Speaker. There were times you sit in the assembly for 3 months, you can't even get money to buy fuel to run the DCE vehicle, let alone to send your staff to go for monitoring. Mr. Speaker, we approved this Assembly's Common Fund formula in this House. Monies that are supposed to send to the assemblies are not sent. We sit at the Common Fund Secretariat, procure equipment, procure logistics to the assemblies when the assemblies do not even need this equipment. Mr. Speaker, let's also look at the IGF, the law that should enable the assemblies to generate IGF. That law is moribund. Mr. Speaker, poll tax. Poll tax, if you go to collect poll tax, Mr. Speaker, at the end of the day, the cost of collection is higher than what you are going to collect. So we need to look at the laws too, so that we can empower the assembly. Let's fortify the assemblies so that they can generate, more IGF. Mr. Speaker, political interference is one of the challenges that face most of our assemblies. As a district chief executive, Mr. Speaker, you are protecting your seat. So you dare not even go to say that people should pay property rate, people should do ABCD for you to generate enough money for the assembly, because your party will come after you. Your party chairman will not understand why you are asking them to pay property rate. Mr. Speaker, so we need a holistic discussion on this matter. Very good statement. Let's just don't talk about it and throw it to the dogs. Mr. Speaker, refer this statement to the local government committee so that we can discuss it and make serious recommendations. Particularly the Common Fund Secretariat, they should stop deducting monies that are meant for the assemblies. We should not. If we continuously doing that, we will be pretending to be working, we'll be pretending to be at least sending governance to the people. Meanwhile, we are doing nothing. Mr. Speaker, how on earth can you send 400,000 to the assembly when you know the cost of a unit classroom, 3-unit classroom block? Mr. Speaker, when I was DCE, we were guided that any time Common Fund is released, we should be embarking on at least projects, physical projects, construction of chief's compound, construction of 3-unit classroom blocks. So anytime payments were made, they want to see the DCE making payment or allocation for the construction of physical projects. Now, if you want, go and check the assemblies. The monies that are being sent to them, Mr. Speaker, they just use it for the day-to-day running of the assemblies. No assembly can physically show that this is what they've used their common fund for over the period. So, Mr. Speaker, we cannot be pretending to be developing our people.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed your submission. Indeed, you are a former DC. Let me come to leadership. You didn't take your time. So, minority leadership.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the maker of this statement. I know that he is somebody who has been in the local government committee for quite some time, and all the observations and all the monitoring that has been made, that has necessitated the maker to come up with a new or a view of strengthening local governance in our country. Mr. Speaker, I tend to agree with the last contributor to this statement that we are pretending to be working. Mr. Speaker, as a country, we pride ourselves that we have a very strong local governance system and structures. But Mr. Speaker, yes, I will admit that that is so. But as a country, I don't think we've looked back to look at the need to review a number of things. Mr. Speaker, a number of countries have paid a benchmark visit to Ghana to learn of our local government systems. And the interesting thing is that they've gone back to improve on what we have. And it is very interesting. I will cite the case of Zambia. Zambia learned of our 1 million one constituency system. In order to progress development, what Zambia has done is to set up a development committee. And that development committee, you have representatives from the local government, from the district assembly executive, you have a representative from the MP of the area, you have representatives who are stakeholders, who come together, plan what has to be done within the municipality or the district, and then ensure its implementation and execution. Mr. Speaker, because of that, you can visibly see development taking place in Zambia as we speak now. Because it has been devoid of a chief executive undermining the MP. It is devoid of the MP quarreling with the chief executive for non-releases of funds. It is one good structure which is enhancing development within the Zambian country. It is something that we should pay attention to and try to improve on what we have. We can't always sit down and pride ourselves and say, oh, we have the best, when we are not reviewing. It is important that we review the structures, the systems that we use to operate. One thing, Mr. Speaker, that I would want to discourage, I don't mind how people look at it, is to look at the system of paying unit committee members. Please, they work within a very small area where they are the monitors of how the communities are developing. It is important that these people, they don't incur any cost. I have never been for the idea that we should be buying bikes and paying ex gratia to assembly members. It's something that I really don't subscribe to. It is important that we look at systems that will help us to develop faster than we are doing. And it is also very good that we devoid ourselves of the clashes that we have within the system. That doesn't make us grow. The chief executive of that particular municipality has a singular responsibility to ensure that you mobilize funds to undertake other responsibilities of the municipality, and not for development. The development has its own committee that pursues the development agenda. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, Majority Leadership.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. And let me thank the makers of the statements. I think it's very important that they brought this issue to the fore, and we can't exhaust it today. So going forward, we need to avert our minds to issues raised in those statements so that we can at least start implementing some of the proposals put forward before us. Mr. Speaker, before I touch on the statement, the issue raised by the Deputy Minority Leader in respect of the payment of unit committee members, assembly members, and the rest. In the NDC manifesto, we did promise that we'll give some allowances to the unit committee members and then the assembly members. Because the issue is, we are now taxing them to collect data, deaf and BEF, from their communities. So even if they are to forward this information through text messages, who who is going to take care of the data that they are going to use to send this information? If they are to travel to the assemblies, who is going to pay for the fares? So at least if there are some motivation, it will let people also give out their best. Assembly members attend meetings, and the DCs will tell them there is no common fund. So even the allowances, the 150 cities or the 100 cities they're giving them, they can't pay. Some will run to 3 or 4 months before they can even find money and give to assembly members. So the next sitting, if you invite them, they will not attend the meetings. So these are some of the issues we need to have a very better understanding and put it before all of us, especially after the presentation of the budget. The formula will be presented to us. We are going to approve the formula. Leader, you are aware, even in the formula, about 50% of the allocation is disbursed in Accra here. Care lepers, youth development, school feeding. So in the Constitution, Article 252 is telling us that we should transfer not less than 5% to the local assemblies for development. The question is, do they get a 5%? Even from the finance ministry point of view, sometimes they transfer 3.5 or less than the 5%. We have promised to transfer 7.5%. It is in our manifesto. So help us to walk the talk, and let's make sure the 7.5 gets to the assemblies so that they can use these monies for local development. Mr. Speaker, I was a member of the local government committee. We were given an assignment to tour the whole country to monitor projects. That was the past 4-5 years ago. Leader, we went to Volta region, Eastern region, Ashanti region, and Western region. You go to the assemblies and you identify a project. You ask them, who is the contractor? They don't know the contractor. Who is the consultant? They don't know the consultant. What is the project cost? They don't know. And the DC will tell you, we have invited them for a meeting, and they don't want to even attend our meetings. So who is supervising the work? Meanwhile, the structure is developing at this municipality, but he doesn't know the contractor. So if there are defects, how do you correct it? So we are doing decentralization, but we are holding back the activities of the local assemblies. We sit in Accra, award contract, make payments in Accra, and the people at the assembly, sometimes they don't even need the project. They have their own needs. We need to review it. We need to sit down with them, let them give us their priorities so that we invest the money into those areas. You mentioned the 1 million per constituency that the Zambia people came and tapped on it, and they've enhanced it, and it's helping them. In our constituencies, who can tell me he's aware of $1 million transfer to the constituency? So on paper, we are doing well. But if you go to the ground, we are not walking the talk. It was a propaganda thing we did. Unless you have evidence to prove that Beer East, for the past 8 years, we transfer 8 million Ghana cedis. These are the projects. And these are the projects we use the money to execute. So, Mr. Speaker, we do propaganda with everything.
Yeah, hold on, let him give it to them.
So, Mr. Speaker, enough of the talking. Let's stop the propaganda. Let's make sure that what we are saying is what we are doing on the ground. You can't announce to the whole world that every constituency has received 8 million Ghana cedis worth of project. Meanwhile, you have not transferred even 500,000 to the assemblies. What kind of local governance are we talking about here? Mr. Speaker, the local governance service, they sit in Accra, do recruitment, transfer or post these officers to the local assemblies. The DCs are not aware, they don't know their background. You go to some assemblies, you have about 3 deputy coordinating directors sitting idle, no space to even work. But every month, they draw salaries from consolidated fund. Are we not wasting resources? So these are some of the issues we need to come together as a house and deal with them. If not, if you do all the computation, you come to the conclusion that 5.3 billion Ghana cedis is transferred to the local assemblies for, let's say, 2024. What is the impact? Check from 2023, 2024. Common fund is still owing the assemblies, including members of parliament here. Our project fund has not been paid. The year has ended. A new government is in place now. They are going to put together a new formula for approval. What about the arrears? But on paper, it is written, oh, we've transferred this money to the assemblies for development. Where is the money? Where is the project? So you see projects springing up at various communities. Contractors have abandoned site because of non-payment of certificates. So these are some of the issues we need to avert our minds to so that we come together as a house and deal with them. But 7.5% will be released in this 2025 budget because we've signed a social contract with the people. We've promised the people and we will deliver. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
You want to speak?
It's just a matter of information. It's point of information.
Point of information?
Yes.
But I gave you the floor. You didn't speak.
No, it was because of what he said. Mr. Speaker, it was because of what he said.
Honorable, why? Honorable members, please.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, leader. The point is,
yes,
you wanted to raise a point of order whilst he was speaking. I gave you the opportunity, but you sat down. You didn't observe me. I gave you the opportunity.
Mr. Speaker, with all due deference to you, I actually thought that you were asking me to sit for him to finish.
Oh no, then he didn't get it. He didn't get it.
But Mr. Speaker, you know I respect your seat, so fine. I did so. Fine. Mr. Speaker, it was just a statement or a point he made with reference to the fact that 1 million is paid into accounts. But you said so. If you check,
members, please. So what was it?
Mr. Speaker, all I'm trying to say is that those amounts of monies are not paid into accounts. They are given to the agencies that work, and when contractors are done working, they are paid. That is all.
Well. Your information is well noted. Honorable member for Elmina. Why? Is there an issue?
Yeah, he's misinforming the House. Yes. It was supposed to be $1 million to the assemblies. I was in Cape Coast when the former vice president came over there and told us over there that those assemblies should run to Accra and that the money was there. And if you don't go and collect the money, they will spend it in Accra.
Yes, you lied.
Thank you.
That's what he said.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it was with you.
Honorable member, it's okay. It's okay. Well noted.
Mr. Speaker, the vice
Let me give
president
the
is
point
not
to
here
read your statement.
to speak for himself.
Honorable members, I think these are red herrings. We don't need to. This statement has been made. It has been contributed to, and I think that is that. We don't need to move outside the jurisdiction. So, honorable members, let's take the next statement from honorable member for Tafo. Honorable Vincent Safwa is going to talk. Honorable Member, you are going to talk on education at a crossroad. Education at a crossroad. Safeguarding progress in Ghana's educational sector, presented by Honorable Asafua. But Honorable, before you leave, let me acknowledge our children from Amasaman. They are Visila International School. They are being led by Richard K. Miriku, who is a teacher in the school, and the school is located at Amasaman constituency. Amasaman, where is the MP? Yes, the MP is here. Yes. Honorable members, yes, that's their MP. Yes, we are happy to see you here. I believe you are monitoring and studying what is going on here. We want you to study and study it well. And that will urge you to study so that tomorrow, if your uncles, your aunts, your fathers, if you are no more here, you will come and take over from us. Right? So study hard so that tomorrow you take over from us. You are welcome. I hope the honorable member will welcome them well on behalf of the House. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Safua, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Education remains the most powerful tool for national development, shaping the minds and skills of future generations. Around the world, nations celebrate various milestones in education, whether it be International Day of Education, Teachers' Day, or commemoration of groundbreaking policies that have transformed learning. These moments serve as reminders that education is not just a policy area, but a fundamental pillar upon which societies build their progress. In Ghana, our educational journey has been marked by reforms and innovations designed to ensure access, equity, and quality. Policies such as the free senior high school education and the expansion of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, have played a transformative role, empowering the youth and securing the country's future. It is within this context that we approach the recent decision by the government to establish an 8-member committee to organize a national education forum. Mr. Speaker, the National Education Forum is not a novel concept. It has historically served as a platform for engaging policymakers, educators, civil society, and stakeholders on critical issues affecting Ghana's educational landscape. However, the value of such a forum is ultimately measured by the quality of its recommendations, and more importantly, the government's commitment to implementing policies that uplift rather than destabilize the sector. We must also be mindful of the history, purpose, and outcomes of such engagement, particularly when they are convened under an administration whose track record in education policy has at best been inconsistent. Under the previous administration, education was not merely a subject for discussion. It was a priority for transformational action. Our government took bold, decisive steps to expand access ensure equity, and improve quality, leading to some of the most significant educational reforms in Ghana's history. Some key policies implemented include free senior high school education, a revolution in access to education. The free senior high school policy implemented in 2017 broke financial barriers that had long prevented thousands of Ghanaian children from pursuing secondary education. This policy significantly increased enrollment, particularly among students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds, ensuring greater access to education for many. The policy's impact is evident in the record number of SHS graduates progressing to tertiary education, affirming its role in shaping the future of our workforce and national development. Expansion of STEM education, positioning Ghana for the future. Recognizing the importance of equipping students with 21st century skills, the NPP government made significant investment in STEM education. The establishment of STEM-based senior high schools, modern science laboratories, and training programs has enhanced Ghana's capacity to introduce world-class engineers, scientists, and innovators. By prioritizing STEM, the previous government laid the foundation for a technologically driven economy, ensuring that Ghana's youth can compete on a global stage. The government established the Ghana TVET service to improve the management and delivery of technical and vocational education and training. Several TVET institutions were upgraded, and new centers of excellence were built to enhance hands-on training and industry relevance. This move positioned TVET as a viable alternative to traditional academic routes, equipping students with employable skills. Transformation of the school infrastructure landscape. The government launched an aggressive school infrastructure expansion program to accommodate the growing number of students under the free senior high school education. New classroom blocks, dormitories, and science laboratories were constructed across various secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, to track and improve learning outcomes at the basic school level, the government introduced the National Standardized Test to assess primary 4 and 6 pupils. The policy ensures early intervention for struggling students and provides data-driven solutions for improving literacy and numeracy. Mr. Speaker, the government must unequivocally assure the people of Ghana that this initiative is not a smokescreen for reversing or diluting these landmark policies. Let it not be said that the certain government came to tinker with the free senior high school policy under the guise of review, leading to cost sharing that undermines accessibility. Reduce investment in STEM education, which would slow Ghana's progress in technology and innovation. Weaken TVET reforms, reversing the strides made in equipping the youth with employable skills. Mr. Speaker, education is not a partisan experiment. It is a national imperative. The reforms we undertook were not accidental. They were deliberate, strategic, and backed by evidence of their necessity and success. Any government that seeks to build upon these reforms must do so with commitment to expand and improve, not regress and erode. We, on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, will vigilantly monitor the proceedings and outcomes of this forum. We will hold this government accountable for any decision that threatens our future, especially the future of our students, teachers, and the broader education sector. The people of Ghana will not forgive any administration that seeks to roll back policies that have lifted millions out of educational disadvantage. With these remarks, Mr. Speaker, I welcome the committee and encourage them to work with transparency, foresight, and a firm commitment to national progress. However, let it be known that any attempt to use this forum as a backdoor to undo the transformative educational policies of the MPP will be met with firm resistance. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity granted me.
Yes. Why should he sit down? Why should he sit down? Yes.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise on Order 64.1, fortified by Article 102 of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, and I read the Article 102. A quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, shall be 1/3 of all members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the members in the House, we are not up to 1/3 of the number required to carry on with business of the day. So I want to plead with you so that
Honourable members.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, we will discuss this together. Because my brother, I thought he was going to comment on the statement rather than to raise a quarrel. So
the rules of this House does not allow this. As soon as there is a statement,
what I'm saying is we will discuss it together. Let's listen.
There should be comments. The rules of this House does not allow that. The standing orders does not allow that. When there has been a statement, the Speaker, respectfully, there should be comments that is coming from members.
I'm saying I'll give you time to discuss it.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Mahama, I'll give you time to make your contribution. Let's listen to you.
Thank you.
I'll give you time to make a contribution. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Here to give a statement on Ghana's forest reserve, the state of Ghana's forest reserves and water bodies. Right Honourable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to address this August House on the pressing issues facing our nation, particularly the devastating scourge of illegal mining, commonly known as Galamsey, and its catastrophic effects on our precious forests and water bodies. I stand before you today not only to provide an update on their situation, but also to outline the solutions you have identified and the expedited actions we are taking to address this national emergency. I'm also here, Honourable Speaker, to solicit the unwavering support of this House and honourable colleagues to join me in this fight. This is not a battle for one individual, but a collective struggle that demands unified efforts to achieve meaningful and lasting solution. Honourable Speaker, Ghana boasts of a total land area of approximately 23.8 million hectares. Of this, about 3.6 million hectares, which is 15% of our total land area, are designated as either forest reserve or wildlife protection areas managed by the Forestry Commission. These include 288 forest reserves and 21 protected areas scattered across the country. As we know, our forests and wildlife resources have long been major contributors to Ghana's economic development. They provide formal and informal employment, sustainable livelihood, offer rich biodiversity for ecotourism, and generate foreign exchange through timber exports. Beyond their economic value, our forests play a critical role in climate regulation, serving as nature-based solution to mitigate the impacts of climate change. So, Speaker, despite the numerous benefits we derive from the forest and our increasing knowledge about the importance of forests to our ecosystem and well-being, Ghana's forests continue to be under serious threat of deforestation and forest degradation due to factors known to all of us. Ghana is currently faced with an unprecedented threat to our forest resources and water bodies due largely to illegal small-scale mining activities. This situation has assumed crisis proportions with dire national security and public health consequences that require immediate attention. Honourable Speaker, it will interest you to note that out of the 288 forest reserves that I have mentioned, a whopping 44 of these forest reserves are under serious attack by illegal miners, and an estimated area of over 5,000 hectares has been devastated. And to put it puterially, about 7,000 standard football fields is what I'm talking about. That has been devastated. 7,500 football fields gone. This is mostly occurring in these specific areas. One in the Ashanti region, the Bakwai, in Kawie, in the western region, Takwa, Dabuasi, and in the western north, Bibiani, Enche, and Juaboso, especially. Mr. Speaker, the approach adopted by illegal mining gangs is quite alarming and frightening. They are heavily armed with sophisticated weapons and very violent with large numbers of excavators, making it extremely difficult for forest guards and the rapid response team to control them, since they have no sophisticated weapons to control them. Over 9 out of the 44 forest reserves, and Mr. Speaker, this is very important, over 9 out of the 44 forest reserves have been completely taken over by these illegal mining thugs with impunity. And the Forestry Commission no longer have access to these forest reserves. This situation is dire and must be condemned by all citizens of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the impact of illegal mining on our water bodies, which is the second phase, is critical and equally alarming. Among the 3 water basin systems in Ghana, which is the Volta, Southwestern, and the Coastal Western Basin systems, the Southwestern Basin system is most impacted. The rivers that form the Southwestern Basins are the Ankobra, the Pra, which is made out of Fame, Brim, and Odan, and the Tano and Bia. According to the Ghana Water Company, the normal turbidity levels for water under treatment should not exceed 500 NTU. However, the current turbidity levels of these water systems are between 5,000 and 12,000 NTU. The Ghana Water Company has had to shut down some treatment plants in Takwa at a point due to overpollution from Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, the pollution does not end with turbidity. These water bodies are also contaminated with toxic chemicals such as cyanide, mercury, hydrocarbons, and used recklessly by these illegal miners. This is utterly unacceptable. We cannot afford to reach a point where access to clean potable water becomes a daily struggle for citizens. Mr. Speaker, this is the grim reality of the state of our forest reserves and our water bodies. This is indeed what we have inherited. It is a legacy of environmental degradation that we must confront head-on as part of His Excellency President Mahamad's Reset Ghana agenda. The outlook is undoubtedly bleak, but we are resolute in our commitment to reversing this crisis with your support. In line with this Reset agenda, I wish to provide highlight of some short medium, and long-term measures that we have embarked upon to address this situation. In the short term, Mr. Speaker, we want to clear all water bodies from illegal mining activities through the use of river gas under our Blue Water Initiative. Details of this initiative will be provided during the launch of this initiative in the coming weeks. 2, engagement of stakeholders at all levels. Among other things, the intention is to strengthen our regulatory and law enforcement regime and get the buy-in of stakeholders on measures being pursued. And all the stakeholders must include our traditional authorities, municipal district authorities, civil society groups, our members of parliament, security agencies, state regulators, the judiciary, and here we will talk about the numbers. In the last few years, the numbers for prosecution for illegal mining is not very encouraging. Out of over 800, the number we had for people who have been prosecuted was less than 40. And so we need to look at that area as well. This is the reason why I'm here today, right on, Speaker. I wish to seek your commitment and the commitment of the leadership at all levels, including all political parties, including my friends on this side and my friends in the majority as well. We have to collectively fight this. The Speaker, another short-term measure is that I inaugurated a working group of experts on Wednesday, the 12th of February 2025, to undertake a review of the mining sector and licensing regime and recommend immediate radical reform to sanitize illegal mining activities within our forests and our water bodies. And our committee is expected to submit its report by the end of the month. Mr. Speaker, we are also collaborating with the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and actively discussing modalities for revoking LI 2462 to establish a more responsible legal framework for small-scale mining in ecologically sensitive areas. Mr. Speaker, our short to medium-term approach is to roll out the government's Tree for Life reforestation initiative. This ambitious initiative aims to restore degraded landscapes by transforming areas ravaged by illegal mining and other drivers of deforestation into ecologically functional landscapes. We intend to promote sustainable forest management, conservation, and reforestation to combat diversity loss, water pollution, climate change, and environmental degradation, threats that now pose an existential threat to our very existence. We recognize that many young people turn to illegal mining due to lack of sustainable employment opportunities. As part of our long-term strategy, we are also exploring a lot of other alternative, sustainable livelihoods to reduce dependence on galamsey and other illegal mining activities. Mr. Speaker, I conclude with a heartfelt appeal to all of you, our colleague members of Parliament, Ghanaians, to join in this fight against galamsey. Let us unite to support the measure outlined today. We owe it to ourselves, our children, our future generations to safeguard our environment and secure a sustainable future for our beloved nation. The time to act is now. Together, we can and must prevail. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I'll invite, we'll come to this topic, but I will invite Honorable Mahama to make his earlier comment on the first statement, then we will shift to this one. So, Honorable Mahama.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I rose on my feet substantially on two major issues to seek direction from the Speaker on the matter that you had to rule on. You had given direction that we should discuss the statement made by my honorable colleague, honorable member for Old Tafo, and a member raised an issue with quorum. Substantially, it puts the issue on hold, and you gave direction according to Order 64-4, where you said the bill will have to be ranked, discussion will go for 10 minutes, and then a head count done by the clerk at the table, and then we will determine whether quorum has been formed. Without risk of, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to risk a discussion that will not be captured as part of the official proceedings of the
Honourable
House.
Member, I've given you the floor. I want you to comment on that statement. Oh, honourable members, please. Why?
Mr. Speaker, I would comment on that, but I feel like it's procedurally right to bring that to your attention.
Honourable Mahama, if you don't have comment, please, then I will give the opportunity to somebody else.
I have a question. I have a comment, Mr. Speaker.
You have?
I have a comment, Mr. Speaker.
So comment on it. Leave the rest of the procedure to the chair. You comment. I've given you the
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for that direction, but I was just trying to help guide the chair. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement brought to fore issue about education and education at the crossroads. He highlighted some of the teething issues regarding Ghana's educational system. He also brought to our attention some of the sterling, most innovative and cut-edging educational initiatives that were initiated by the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But the most important in that statement to me, and that should engage our minds, is his comment on the flagship program of the previous government. That is the free senior education program. Mr. Speaker, I have had the opportunity of writing some papers on education. And I remember when I was doing my second degree, I wrote about gender inequalities in primary school enrollment and the factors that probably would necessitate or, if you like, determine whether a person will enroll a female or a male student in school. Mr. Speaker, one of the findings was the financial status of the parents. And Free Senior High School basically took away this burden and made education accessible to every Ghanaian, irrespective of where you are born, irrespective of the financial status of your parents. And I think that this program will have to be safeguarded. It is in tandem with the Constitution of the Republic that education should be progressively free. And then any attempt by any government to introduce any impediment to access to education by way of parents paying, i.e., would not be in furtherance of the Constitution of the Republic of the country. Mr. Speaker, there are recent talks about parents having to pay for some part of Parent-Teachers Association dues. There are recent talks about engagement with institutions to ensure that education is actually being contributed to by parents. Mr. Speaker, I think as a House, the Free Senior High School legislation could not be passed by this House in the previous Parliament.
Thank you.
We will have to pass this Parliament. This Parliament will have to pass it, ring-fence funding sources for education, and make sure that it is accessible for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'll take the last statement, last comment. I'm saying I'll take the last comment. So I'll either give it to the former minister or... Please, I'm saying last comment.
I'm indulging you. Indulge the two of us. With respect to your office, Mr. Speaker.
Please. We all know that the statement that has been read are a very important statement that we need to discuss. But our own colleague raised column, so the 10 minutes I have to make sure that, please, I'm going by my own time. I'm going by my own time. So let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, you're a nice man. Thank you for the opportunity you've given to me. My honorable friend, Vincent Eko Asafua, has made a profound statement, and I commend him for the statement he's made. Mr. Speaker, education is the core of societal development and progress. Between 2010 and 2020, Mr. Speaker, the SYNDC administration introduced an education strategic plan that spanned between 2010 and 2020. When the NPP took over, we also had a strategic plan by reviewing what the NDC had put in place because it was ending in the year 2020. We also came up with a plan that spanned the period between 2018 and 2030. And because, the Speaker, this document is there, I was expecting the current government to at least examine this document and see the positives, the strengths, and where there are weaknesses, then they can revise those weaknesses so that we move forward. For me, that is how we need to proceed as a country. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. The Speaker, if you look at the document we have right now, that was overseen by Dr. Matabuku Prempe and Dr. Ose Yao Aduchum, it is a comprehensive plan. In the year 2017, we did what we call the education sector analysis based on some of these documents. And we came out with gaps in those existing documents, and we had some suggestions moving forward. That is why we were able to introduce the free technical education intervention. The point I'm making is that through the gaps, we realized that technical education was a way that we need to pursue.
Thank you.
And we've done that. At a free education and all that. But as we speak, this government is having a stakeholder engagement in the Volta region.
Thank you.
And the idea, Mr. Speaker, please give me a second to just conclude. And the idea is to come up with a new paradigm. But I'm saying that what is there is enough.
Thank you.
What we have right now is enough to help this country to move forward.
Thank you so much.
They can't reinvent
Thank
the wheel.
you so much,
They should
Honorable
follow the innovative
Dr.
interventions
Thank you.
that the MPP government put in place.
Thank you so
My
much.
good friend Hannah Dusu, that I respect so much. Please respect me. I'm your friend. I'm your friend. Mr. Speaker, I know how Hannah Dusu, the new
Honorable
education
members,
minister,
Honorable
will do
members,
right.
please, don't do that. Allow me in, please. Allow me in, please.
Mr.
Yes,
Speaker,
Honorable, conclude
my
for
point
me.
is that the current education minister, I know him. I know that he is capable and will do right. But I would just advise him as a very good friend to look at the innovative interventions that we roll out and just add on to it.
Thank you.
And that will benefit this country
Thank
and
you.
our children.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Speaker.
much. I hope initially you said you wouldn't contribute. Yes, I want to finish that one, then I come to. Yes, Honorable Minister. You wouldn't catch my eye again.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I want to commend the statement by my colleague, Honorable Vincent Assefu of Old Tafu, for commenting on what is going on in Ghana at this time in terms of the committee looking at the future of education in our nation. Mr. Speaker, developing a country requires a certain kind of education regime. Other nations have done it, and Ghana can do the same. It's not by accident that China set a goal of producing 50,000 engineers, moved it up from 50,000 to 200,000, and now they have 800,000 engineers coming out of their colleges and universities every year. The purpose of education is so critical. It's not just education. Education must be a system that moves us from point A to B in terms of socioeconomic transformation. Education must be done in such a way that we are meeting requirements of the fourth industrial revolution. That is why I'm proud of what Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was able to do in education. When we realized that our nation was paying lip service to the so-called 60-40 ratio, where we've always said that in the universities, we are going to produce 60% of our graduates at STEM-related fields, 40% in the humanities. Then you look at the number and realize that the high schools, you have only 12.5% of your students doing science. How do you change 12.5% to 60% when they move from one level to the other? That is what led us to the innovation of pre-engineering programs. As I speak with you, UMAT has been able to create a pre-engineering program. This year, over 300 students were admitted to the pre-engineering program. These were students who did general arts, who did visual arts, who did home economics, but have a desire to change and add to our STEM-related numbers. They couldn't even admit all the students. This innovation is working. We have model junior high schools focused on STEM. We have Accra STEM Academy educating students from kindergarten to high school. Many things have been done, and I pray that government is a continuum. The new government will look at the innovation, the creativity in education, and continue the trend to move Ghana forward, so that what we've not been able to do for 60 plus years, we can do in our generation. I think the legacy should be for us all, that during our time, we took on education and changed it and made it better for our nation and transform our fortunes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now, please, let me turn to the statement the minister responsible for lands and natural resources made. So, I'll come to you. Let me start from Professor Bayo. Yes, let's hear you. I'll come to you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I wanted to correct something for the purpose of the Hansard.
Are you commenting or...
Mr. Speaker,
please, if you are not commenting, let me give the opportunity to somebody, a prof.
Yeah.
Because I think we've already gone past that. Yes, Honorable Member for Bolbamboy, the Deputy Minister designate responsible for the same.
Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the Honorable Minister of Lands and Natural Resources for a very brilliant statement that he has just made this afternoon. Mr. Speaker, I'm not thanking him just for the statement, but I'm also thanking him for the speed at which he has started his work. In less than a month, You agree with me that he's moving at a speed, and that if we support him, the challenges that we are being confronted with in this sector will be a thing of the past. Mr. Speaker, he has demonstrated preparedness, competence to resolve the issues confronting that sector. That's right. Mr. Speaker, these problems that we are all faced with are problems that have been there for a very long time. But we must get them resolved at a point. And to get them resolved, we will need all hands to be on deck. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's calling for stakeholder engagement. He's calling for other political parties to come on board. He's calling on MMDCs to come on board. He's calling on all Ghanaians to come on board. And that's the way to go. I doff my cap for you, my honorable minister, for this laudable approach you are using in solving such problems. Mr. Speaker, as for the challenges, they are clear. And the data exists to show that our forest cover is being depleted. Like he said in his statement, as we speak, 44 of our reserves are gone. Wow. They are gone to, if you like, illegal mining. Mr. Speaker, again, if you read the records, you read the reports everywhere, Ghana Water Company is suffering. It's suffering because of the way our water bodies have been destroyed. And we cannot wait even for a moment. We need to act and act speedily. And that is what my minister is doing. Today, I'm a very happy person because if you have such an acting person at this strategic place, then you are rest assured that you are getting solutions.
Thank you. Thank you. Please. He's supposed to comment not more than 5 minutes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I'm here to start.
You are here to start?
Yes.
Your time is up. Let's give the opportunity to member for Takrady.
That's one. Mr. Speaker, just conclude.
Okay, in conclusion,
In conclusion, my minister spoke about the use of water guards to ensure that our water bodies are protected. Mr. Speaker, he discussed something with me, and I think it's important to mention it here. He's saying that he is going to use the 24-hour economy to ensure that these water guards are going to run the concept of 1-3-3. One job, 3 shifts, 3 people.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Let me come to honorable member for Takrady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I also thank the minister for coming to this house to solicit the support of Parliament for this fight. Mr. Speaker, this fight is not an easy fight. He knows it. In his own constituency, he knows it. That's a very big fight. And when you start fighting them, I still remember when President Mahama was in power and the Frimpong Boateng report came, they said the president, who was the custodian of all the gold in this country, had a Galamsey site. They also started touting that the president, Nanado, is involved in Galamsey. The minister for lands, same. And then my good self. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm saying this fight, Mr. Speaker,
honorable member, please. I want us to be guided. Honorable members, please. No, resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, resume your seat.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Honorable member, please, let's be guided with our own standing orders. The minister came with a statement. Our duty is to comment. And we are guided by 935. I mean, we don't have to comment in such a way that you degenerate into something else.
Oh, Mr.
So
Speaker,
please,
I was only giving a precedent.
Let's be guided,
to
please.
Support the fight against Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, I still remember I was in the region when the chairman for the journalists against Galamsey sent a message to the Minister for Lands, and it was passed on to me to go and fight a Galamsey site on the river in Impoho. Immediately I finished the fight, within 3 days, the guy is recorded on tape, and he said that I'd collapsed in a hospital, and my 17 million had been taken away by my driver.
Honorable members, please, let's listen to him.
The fact of the matter is that the minister should be guided that this big fight is restarting. It's a big fight, and it's going to come with a lot of challenges. And therefore, we all need to support him. Mr. Speaker, because the water we drink, we all buy them from outside and drink them. So if the water is destroyed, it affects all of us. That is why we need to be strong to support him to fight it. Mr. Speaker, the minister has also made mention of setting up a committee that he expects them to report back to him by the end of this month. I think it's a good idea. But I want to promise him, any licensing regime that start and stop in Accra will not solve this problem. Because most of the times, the districts do not own the process and therefore do not know where all the mining sites are. But we know that in the law, we have the district mining committees where the chief is a member, the district police commander is a member, the district chief executive is a member, the minerals commission is a member, and then the association of small-scale miners or miners in the district are also supposed to be a member. I believe that henceforth, when they get the recommendation, you should insist that that should be the committee or the body issuing these licenses, and then Accra can then top it up. Because if we don't do that, there's not going to be any community ownership, and even the fight itself also has to be owned by the community and the district. Otherwise, we are going to have a big challenge in fighting it, because that has been our method of fighting everything from Accra. In fact, by the time soldiers even move into the district, I mean, the Galamseyers, they have been informed and they ran away. In fact, when we were fighting it in those days, when we go in the morning, they are not there. In the afternoon, they are not there. When you go back the next morning, you realize that they are come to do operations in the night. And this is very difficult for our agencies to be able to stop them. Going forward, he has also made mention of the river gas. And I believe that is a good thing. In fact, we trained a lot of river gas. We only deployed them for a few periods because of morality issues. Because along the lines, what we realized was that those fighting Galamsey, from the police to the army to immigration, along the line, it became a different story altogether. So I believe that now that we have digitalization, I'm concluding, Mr. Speaker. Now that we have digitalization, it is important if we can do and implement and invest in solar CCTV cameras along the rivers.
Thank
so
you.
That we can use that to check the river gas and also to check the Galamsey.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I
Thank
believe
you.
that it is time we
Thank
support
you.
him.
I've enjoyed your contribution. That's why I allow you to go beyond.
And now it has come back to him to get this resolved. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity. I realize that so many people were competing for your eye, so I'm thankful that you caught me. Indeed, I just want to make a short comment, and I'm guided by Order 93.4 that I shouldn't go beyond 5 minutes. And I'm also guided by the fact that I am actually making a contribution to the education part of what was presented. I am not going to talk about Galamsey. The part that was done by Honorable Asifua.
Honorable member, please, that one is over. Yes, my brother, let me hear you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The hour is now, and the time is now. It's been decades when Ghana had been making efforts to eradicate illegal miners from our water bodies and our forests. But what is the action? Our actions always stay in the armchair. We speak it like poets. But when it comes to the action, we are divided in how to curb this menace. We started even commenting on this beautiful statement by going politically. How then will a divided house be able to train its children? Mr. Speaker, my little advice to us all, including myself, is that until we become one and frown upon the activity itself, we cannot curb it, because it is us who are admitting the very people there. The youth we see there are the people who are unemployed because they don't have a job. They would find every means, and you are not able to restrict them from going there. If we start making conscious efforts to pull out the youth from those sites by giving them something to do, I can give you a typical example. The youth you see in the trenches there, muddying the waters, most of them might have come from Afram Plains North. Because they have the experience of the waters, and because they have nothing to do in their constituencies, and nothing is going on well with them, they end up trying to look for quick monies. The machines that dig the hole do not muddy the waters like the young ones who go inside to turn it over again. I urge us all, both all the ministries, youth, sports, agric, lands, to come together, environment, and withdraw the youth from the sites. Then we can know the masters who put the youth there. That is only when we can stop Galamsey from our side. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me come to Okankwe Central.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. To add my voice to the comments on the floor on the statement ably made by the Minister responsible for lands and natural resources. Mr. Speaker, I believe Galamsey issues or issues with regards to mining in our forest reserves, on our water bodies and what have you, has become a serious national security issue. Mr. Speaker, it requires serious political will on the part of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary to stem this canker. Mr. Speaker, people in our communities are seriously trading off cocoa farms for the Galamsey menace to continue there. Mr. Speaker, why would they do that? It's because of our quest for money. In this country, we hail people who hold money without even asking the source of the money. We'll go, we've all benefited from cocoa money, it's taking us through scholarship and education and what have you. But now you go to your village and they are ready, the chief, your elders, family heads are ready to cede off the farms that took care of them to illegal miners. Mr. Speaker, if you read the NDC manifesto, paragraph 4.3, pages 110 of 200, It has about 18 policy interventions on the extractive sector. It's in their manifesto. And I'm asking myself, how long would it take Kofi Boah and his team to implement those schemes or measures? Mr. Speaker, it's not going to be easy. It requires a serious hand with a tough skin to go after these illegal activities. Mr. Speaker, Kofi, you'll be tempted. Your colleagues will be involved, both sides. They will come to you to plead with you. Nole prosequa you'll be tempted with it. Having gone after people, you talked about only 40 people being prosecuted. Yes, the courts are there to protect the liberty of the individual. Majority leader will tell you, it takes a long time to convict an individual. It's part of our criminal jurisprudence, Mr. Speaker. So if you've come here to read this beautiful statement, we'll be watching the space for the implementation, because we are talking about decentralizing illegal mining, setting up small, medium, and large scale. I've read it. But your own members, both sides, will come to you, Kofi, to ask for favors. You have to take a very strong step on suspending the issuance of licensing. Make sure that the proper demarcations are made. Make sure you visited almost all the sites. We are talking about over 3,000 illegal mining sites. How are you going to patrol it? You don't have the technology. We will be listening to the minister on the 10th of March on your budget. We'll be looking at the budget lines to support you in this fight. And we don't want you to come here for your ministry's budget approval and say that, oh, we requested for $500 million, we've been giving 100 million. We'll be listening to you, Kofi. So we pray for you. I know you have the heart, but get the resources and the tough skin to fight this. You went to Asante Hene, Otumfo. He gave you a good advice. All the chiefs, you went to the Western region with the president. We monitored you. We know some of your constituents are involved. How are you going to fight it? You'll be thinking about your seat. You'll be thinking about how the NDC wins the next elections. God forbid.
Why? God forbid. Why challenge
Kofi, so I believe the House and the country is solidly behind you, because you mentioned about the turbidity levels from 500, it's now over 12,000. The Water Resources Commission will give you all the data. You drive from Cape Coast on the PRA, you get to Ankobra, crossing to your constituency, we always see the water levels. Get the right people to work with. Otherwise, you come here and weep one day and say, little did I know that Sule and his commentary did not help.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Suparo. After giving you the platform, I hope you wouldn't make unnecessary. So let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was only trying to catch your eye. And I have my eyes. What? I was only trying to catch your eye. And so if I had not made the noise, I believed you wouldn't have given me the opportunity. So let me thank you for recognizing me this time around. And also thank the Honorable Minister for this great initiative. This is what we call the resetting agenda. Yeah. Because this is the first time we have a minister coming to this house to let us know that all of us here, Mr. Speaker, we are all stakeholders. And it is time for us to come together to dialogue, to find a lasting solution
to the challenges that we are confronted with as far as our forest reserves, the mining sector is concerned, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the challenge that we are faced with as a country has nothing to do with anybody outside the political class. And I repeat it, I am also part of the people. We all sit here most of the times and pretend and blaming an ordinary youth who is working in Sisala West. A youth living in Sisala West, Mr. Speaker, does not know where a forest reserve in Western region is. And that particular youth, Mr. Speaker, does not know which of our lands that contain either gold or diamond. It is we, the leaders in this country, that recruit these unemployed youth and tax them, give them all the necessary equipment to go and destroy the forest reserves in our country. Mr. Speaker, we were all in this country when media reported that a certain regional minister, driver, took a huge sum of money.
Honorable member, please, don't go there.
I am not mentioning it. I didn't say, Mr. Speaker. I said reporter, media reporter,
Please.
Mr. Speaker.
Please, let the comment.
I am a media reporter. I am not the one saying
Honorable member, please.
Mr. Speaker, I am only making reference to a media report.
Okay, conclude.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We were all in this country when the media reported that a certain regional minister, huge sums of money, millions of cedis, now former regional minister, the driver took the money and absconded. And we were told that those monies were proceeds of illegal monies. Galamsey, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, but when we give opportunities to ourselves to come out with the, solutions, we dance around the issues and rather try to blame innocent youth who are looking for employment. Mr. Speaker, I would want to thank the minister for bringing us around, Mr. Speaker. We have a very humble minister who is in charge of the sector, who is ready to listen to everybody. His doors are very open, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, please.
To listen to the solution that we will propose to him.
Thank you.
So together, we can all address these matters. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
We keep on saying that let's make our comment please, let's make our comment in such a way that it will not attract. Like when he said, Honorable Martin Yindam, please, I'll come to you, I'll come. Honorable Martin Yindam.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for, please, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, can you please?
I'll do it. So,
thank you, right, honorable
Suhini, I'll give you the opportunity, please. I'll give you the opportunity to speak. You give me the. Yes, honorable.
Thank you, right, honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to the statement made by the minister. Mr. Speaker, we all agree that Galamsey is an enemy to all of us. It's an enemy to this country. And for that matter, if we are condemning it, we must all come together as a country, as a nation, to condemn it. Mr. Speaker, people have lost their lives to Galamsey. Cocoa farms have gone because of Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, water bodies that people use to survive on as they are drinking water. Today, if you go to most of these Galamsey areas, Mr. Speaker, all the beautiful rivers are all gone. And for that matter, Galamsey is an enemy to all of us. So in fighting Galamsey, we need to collect